when both of you became president, now, your father had been president, you had not had a father who had been president, but you've been around government. What was the biggest surprise? When the first day you're in the Oval Office, you learn the secrets, the nuclear codes, you learn all the crises that we might be getting into. What was the biggest surprise that you found, and when did it hit you that you're president of the United States, all the power, you're the most powerful man in the world? When did it first hit you? The first day, the first week, the first month?
Well, you know, Harry Truman said that the most amazing thing about being president is you spend so much of your time trying to talk people into doing things they should do without your asking them in the first place. But what surprised me, maybe because I was, and one of his dad's best gigs on me is I was the governor of a small southern state. That was factually true. And was that you're so far removed from the American people that it's hard for them to see you as a three-dimensional person. And I had to learn all over again. Even when he's governor of Texas, as big as Texas is, I think you had a much more personal relationship with the people. Like Bob Bullock is the lieutenant governor, was a Democrat, a very good friend of mine. He loved George Bush. And I think he helped him be a better governor. So, you know, we were just used to being people and dealing with people. And it really surprised me how easily I could be turned into a two-dimensional cartoon instead of a three-dimensional human being. And you have to discipline yourself about what to talk about, how to talk about it. And you have to keep remembering there's all these layers between you and people that didn't used to be there. And that surprised me. I thought I was a pretty good communicator. I thought I could, you know, and I just fell on my face 4 or 5 times till I figured out how to do it.
You became president at a very young age. You were 46 years old. So if you had been president at 56 or 66, you think it would have been different, or you would have had less energy at age, or with more experience? How would you?
I think I would have been better in some ways if I'd been older. But I think I would have been not as good in some ways, because sometimes you get a bunch done because you're too dumb to know you can't do it. Okay. You show up and you keep trying to do it, and something happens, you know.
So now, when your father was president, so you obviously were in the White House. You saw what he did right and what he might have done wrong. Did you take any lessons from that, or were you trying to separate yourself from your father?
No, I learned a lot from watching him, and I wasn't interested in separation from him, and he wasn't interested either. We've got a great father-son relationship, and yeah, I learned a lot from watching him. And my most startling moment came right after the inaugural parade. I decided I was going to go in the Oval Office to see what it felt like. And unbeknownst to me, Andy Card had called upstairs in the residency and asked Dad to come in. And so I was sitting in the Oval Office at the desk there, kind of just taking it all in. And in walks my dad, and I said, "Welcome, Mr. President." He said, "Thank you, Mr. President."
Well, that must have been something. What was it like when your mother walked in the Oval Office the first time and you're the President of the United States?
She started laughing out loud. I mean, it was so ridiculous, you know. I mean, the idea of it, that it could have ever happened. And, but on the other hand, when I started running, she was the only person that thought I had a good chance to win. Nobody else did. Hillary and Chelsea were undecided at the beginning. Right. But it made me feel good because, you know, my mother had a pretty tough life. She was widowed 3 times, and she had a pretty tough life. And she got up at 5 o'clock every morning and got herself ready and was at work by 7 and then did everything she could to take care of me. And so I was proud to be able to show it to her. And she was ill then, but she lived another year. Just a little more than another year, about the time, and or excuse me, a little less than another year. She died the next January the 6th.
So what's it like to live in the White House?
You want to know what my mother said?
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Can imagine.
Get your feet off the Jeffersonian table.
But your mother was proud, of course. I mean, think about this.
Yeah,
She's there's only one woman who ever had a son become president of the United States whose father had also been president of the United States, Abigail Adams, but I don't think she was alive when John Quincy Adams became president. So your mother was the only person who saw her husband be president and her son. Pretty unusual.
Yeah, it is.